And back in 2016, I found out about the Oculus Rift, actually. And I was always interested in VR and the stuff you could do. And I had been burned out off a lot of physical churches due to miscommunication or just certain things I disagreed with. It wasn't until 2018. Well, I went through. I quit games for a little bit to focus on job and other stuff, and then the VR never got away from me. And I was looking for churches in VR, and I found VR Church actually all the way back then, 2018. Um, and I remember buying the Oculus Go, and I would put the headset on, and I remember enjoying the Oculus Go and stuff of that nature. And I actually went into Altspace. Now, at the time, I was very hesitant about Altspace and gaming. I still am to a degree. I was just hesitant of why I would want to go back after being brought out. So I went on the Altspace, and I found the VR Church service somehow on Altspace. Altspace took me a minute to figure out on the Oculus Go. It took me a minute to figure out those controls and stuff. I wouldn't say Altspace was the easiest to learn. Um, but what ended up happening is I found a VR Church service, and I actually ended up at the European service with Bismic one time. And that was actually the first VR church service I went to. So I went to the 1 o'clock, I think. I don't know what made me go there to check it out, and I enjoyed it. And then I looked at the website and everything for a little bit, and then once I looked it up, I decided to kind of check out the evening service, and so I checked it out a couple of evening services before I ever volunteered, and then once I felt like I belonged in there, um, and VR Church was very welcoming and accepting everyone, and I started to volunteer, and one of the I'm actually the volunteer positions that I actually really signed up for were prayer in Discord and prayer in the sermons. And back then, you would pray right after service. And if people couldn't get in the service after adult space, you couldn't get back in. So, um, but that's how I kind of got involved with VR Church. And I've been off and on to some degree. But I've been very loyal. I didn't get really involved. Before I forget, I actually had somebody. I was working at a popcorn shop near my area, and I had one of the members of your church actually come down to visit me at the popcorn shop. He's the one that kind of encouraged me to get involved with the VR church, and that's how. In 2019 is when I really kind of pushed forward, um, and then that's kind of how I got involved, and still am involved today. Um, and then other opportunities came up where I was able to learn Unity during the pandemic and a lot of other stuff. So that I think that's all my